I'm Corbitt with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, July the 22nd, brought to you in part by Kansas Regenerative Medical Center. Transform your health with stem cell therapy. They focus on arthritis and orthopedic issues for your joints, your back, and your neck. It's a good alternative to surgery. For more information, go to kansasrmc.com. Also, Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma, another big run for them. 4,000 head this week here for their Tuesday cattle auction. They're going to have 1,000 head of calves. Most of them weigh to 400 to 600 pounds. 50% of them will be weaned. Included in that, they will have 120 steer calves, weigh around 700 pounds, off the cow, but as fancy as you can make them. Got another 101 head, 90-day weaned steers and heifers, little light things, little peewees. They're weighing 300 to 400 pounds. They were roping calves that got too big to rope, but I mean, they are foolproof and hard as rocks and pretty good kind. And they got 210 head of Angus and Sem-Angus steers and heifers from Pampa, ranch raised 400 to 500 pounders there. Really good calf run. 700 head of yearling heifers. There'll be lots of packages of heifers if you're trying to put together some grazers. About 350 6 to 7 weight yearling heifers come in one string from Caleb 9, and the quality be good enough to go anywhere. They'd be kind of two-way cattle, whatever you want to do with them. But they'll have several loads of yearling heifers in that. They're going to have 1,700 yearling steers. Most of them weighing from upper 7s to 1,000 pounds. They've got 75 all black 800-pound steers coming off grass. They're home raised. The condition is out of this world. And Jeff Slatton told me he thinks they might be the best set of yearling steers coming in there that he's ever seen in his life, and thinks they could be a record breaker. Can't wait to see what they bring, but he said they will absolutely knock your eyes out. They've got some other, probably 20-some loads of yearling feeder steers there. Another deal of red and black Angus coming in, be off one deal, 9-weight steers. I tell you what, be plenty of yearling steers for any of you guys, especially you guys up north. They've got northern quality cattle there. If you want to get in on them, check them out at DVAuction.com. Their sale starts at 7 in the morning. They'll be on big bunches by 8 or 8:30 anyway. They've got 5 to 600 cows for the cow sale following the feeder sale. I mean, lots of cows coming in. Be a few renegades, bred cows and pairs, but mostly just packer cows and bulls. But big sale there at Beaver County Stockyards, and not going to be quite as hot Tuesday as it was on Monday. So check them out. DVAuction.com. View and bid that sale. Bracing for reports. Coming up later this week, we've got a lot of reports, and anytime you get reports, it's another opportunity to knock this cattle market off its pedestal here. But I really seriously doubt if we're going to see anything come in from your cattle and feed report or the biannual cattle inventory report that is going to stop this runaway market here. The biannual report, we didn't have it last year. They were trying to save money. Of course, Biden was in charge then, and couldn't seem to find any ways to save money. Seems like here in the last 6 months we've found a lot of different ways to save money, but we didn't have a biannual cattle inventory report last year, so there'll be no comparison to try to call it from. I mean, they'll use ways to take it from the January report, but I doubt they're going to get anything big change to put their teeth in. We haven't seen the most regular or most popular estimates come out yet. We probably will here middle of this week. I'll give them to you when I see them, but I wouldn't expect too much out of these reports coming up on Friday. We did have a crop progress report come out on Monday, and this is going to be a bumper crop, guys, and that is one reason these farmer feeders, these smaller independent cattle feeders are really coming in to these feeder cattle, even the heavier weights, because they know they can put pounds on cattle for cheap. In the 18 state region there that they normally take focus on, your good to excellent rating on your corn is 74% this year compared to 67% a year ago. I mean, it's amazing how good it is. Your Iowa good to excellent percentage rating is 86%. Good to excellent in Iowa. Wow. Nebraska 78 and Illinois 70, but it is going to be a bumper crop here, guys. Just starting to get ready for it. But we posted all-time record highs on feeder cattle again, and we really didn't have any big sales. I mean, of course, Joplin and Oklahoma City had a pretty good sale. Russell, Iowa had a good sale. Sioux Falls Regional Livestock had a good sale. But none of those barbecue specials or anything like that. There was no free lunch on Monday, but still we saw all-time record highs posted, and they just get higher and higher, and cattle are jumping in bunches again. Still, $10 gains on most classes of cattle again on Monday compared to just a week ago. It's unbelievable how good this market is. I'm going to give them all to you like I always do. I want to take notice of two livestock auctions of note that we have added to the DVAuction family of broadcasters there. One of them be Parsons, Kansas. Now on Wednesday they are going to have a special, and they've got some really, really nice loads of cattle coming into Parsons from right over in the heart of the Flint Hills near Hamilton, Kansas. There'll be 5 loads of heifers coming off the blue stem weighing 6.5 to 7.5, and there'll be 2 loads of steers weighing around 800 pounds coming in off the blue stem right into Parsons, Kansas there, Parsons Livestock. If you can't get there, you can get on DVAuction.com, call them a little early, get approved, and can do it. You know, guys, some of you feeders that have never fed cattle out of the Flint Hills, you gotta try some. Some of these big outfits that sop all of them up in the country every year, and it seems like it's the same family feeding organizations that get them all. They don't want you to know how good they feed. You won't be able to believe what kind of gains you can get out of those cattle off that blue stem and just mineral if that's all they've been getting. I mean, it's unbelievable what they will gain, and cattle have been gaining their heads off here for the last year and a half or two. A lot of it has to do with genetics, but a lot of it has to do with really good conditions. But man, I assume these Flint Hill cattle this year will absolutely kill it. I mean, when they go into the feed yard. But the way to get those without having to cause a range war is get to the sale barns where they're sending some of those cattle. So in that area, you won't see a lot of them at times, but sometimes you will. Like at Parsons on Wednesday, you can get a chance to try some of those green grass feeder cattle off the blue stem Flint Hills country there, and it's well worth the test there, guys. And the other sale that we have picked up here, and it will be their first day to broadcast, is Fredonia Livestock Auction in Fredonia, Kansas. And that is owned and operated by my friend Brad Hahn. And I'm so glad, and I'm tickled to death that he's finally doing some business with us. He's one of my favorite people. He's a great guy, and he's a big-time Feeder Flash gang member. And so he supports me. I support him. He's signed up with DVAuction. They're going to have their first day to broadcast here today, but it's just going to be a summertime type sale. But next week, or actually on March the 5th, I think it's whenever he's going to have his big special coming up on March the 5th. And so I tell you what, be looking for that. I'll be telling you about it before it gets here. But Sure proud to have Brad Hahn and Fredonia Livestock Auction broadcasting on DV. Let's talk about your board on Monday to start the week. August live cattle futures up 167 at 225.22. October was up $1.80 at 221.62. Those are good gains. There's still a far cry from what the cash market is, but trying to catch up a little. Your back months were up 170 to up $2. August feeder cattle up 360 on Monday at 327.60. That's out in front of our index levels. Even your real-time index that's up to date and current on higher Monday prices, it's out there in front and leading the way. September feeder cattle up 350 at 327.70, and then your back months very consistent, and the gains throughout all your cattle futures were very consistent. It was not erratic like it is a lot of times. Your back months on feeder cattle up 365 to up 380. December corn new crop down 5.5 cents a bushel at 422 1/4. New crop November beans down 9 3/4 cents a bushel at 10.26. Hard red winter wheat for September down 3 1/4 cents at 5.25 3/4. Your weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle trade out of your 5 area feeding region, the totaled 49,400 head. That's not a ton, but it's a lot more than the 24,000 or so that I told you up through Friday at 2 o'clock. There was a lot of late Friday trade and some Saturday trade there, pretty much doubled what we had on our last visit, and that was up through 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. And your late sales were higher, and they made a difference on your weighted averages by more than $1 on your live weighted average there. But last week's weighted average, or last week's movement out of your 5 area negotiated was 64,200, or the week before, and the same week a year ago was 57,800. Fat steers and heifers out of your 5 area negotiated sold from 225 to 242.50, steady to 50 cents higher. Your weighted average on live steers 237.78, up 57 cents. So higher again. You're in posting records every week. Your dressed market was 373 to 382. That was $2 higher, mostly on the top, but it was as much as $13 higher on the bottom side of the price range. Your weighted average on dressed steers 379.36, up 15 cents. As a whole, your Southern Plains market was steady to 2 higher at 230 and end at 231 early in Kansas there. Northern Plains was uneven from 240 with a few up to 241 live, and steady dressed at 380. Nationwide, we sold 60,400 head negotiated, 77,800 the previous week, and 71,800 the same week a year before. Of that 60,400 we sold negotiated last week, 32% of them, or a little over 19,000, were for the 2 to 4 week delivery. Your negotiated grid sales totaled 32,500 head last week. Forward contracts for 14,200 head, and formula sales of 231,500 head last week. Of the 4 out of 5 negotiated areas that would get information, Iowa sold 22,500 negotiated. Nebraska sold 16,050 head, and that's light for them negotiated. Kansas sold 7,550 head, and Texas is 3,350. Box beef cutout values were lower to start the week. Choice cuts 372.07 down 148. Selects 350.05 down 144. Your slaughter had a light day on Monday, and I'm thinking maybe they didn't get all the cattle that they needed. I told you that Saturday morning they were trying to get cattle scheduled for Monday, and I'm thinking they didn't get all the cattle scheduled in there and hauled in to have as much kill as they would like. It was extremely light on Monday. Just 105,000 estimated cattle slaughter. 7,000 less than last Monday. 9,000 less than the same Monday a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Punchy pick of the month, man, it's coming up. We got just a 10 days till we got to get those all gathered up there, and everybody's having a good time with the Punchy pick of the month. Couldn't do it without our sponsors, Great Plains Livestock Consulting on the Kids Corral. They donate a $200 gift certificate from Cavender's Boot City. Beaver County Stockyards, of course, they've been with us from the beginning. They'll get a ton of swag from them, and they help us with all the advertising of it. And then, of course, Fairpiece, that revolutionary product that is scientifically proven. Dr. Rodrigo donates a whole case of Fairpiece to the winner of the Punchy Pick of the Month every month, so we thank them. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. Those guys are working to protect your livelihood right there in Carthage, Missouri, guys. Your real-time index after your Monday sales had closed, so with the addition of your Monday sales from last week, it was up 136 at 326.74. That's pretty significant. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index sitting at 325.80. Look at your big sales on Monday. Of course, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma National Stockyards, 4,500 head. I mean, it was hot, and they typically get lighter runs here when it's this hot, guys. But the good market. Feeder steers are $4 to $8 higher. Some of your middleweight heifers were a little lower, but feeding heifers weighing over 800 pounds were as much as $10 higher. Steer calves mostly steady. Heifer calves $5 to $10 higher. And really good sale there in Oklahoma City. One stick-out quote from National Commission was 58 steers weighed 805, bring 328 Monday in Oklahoma City. Of course, Joplin Regional Stockyards had a big sale like they always do, 5,600 head. And I did get a report on Bailey Moore. He had a quadruple bypass heart surgery. I mean, for a guy as young as he is, I mean, early 40s, I can't imagine having a big quadruple bypass surgery, but he's had his share of health problems, and he's getting through it, guys. He's got a positive attitude. He knows Jesus. He's really working hard to get things going right, and I heard from report from the family there that he made it through just fine. Jackie was down there checking on him, and Skylar Moore was minding the fort there, and he did an awfully good job. I tell you what, they had a heck of a sale in Joplin. Maybe you don't need those other two guys as bad as they think. They had 5,600 head in Joplin. The steers sold $2 to $10 higher. The heifers were quoted steady to $3 higher, and it was your Superior Steel Sales, home of Superior Standard Livestock Handling Equipment, stick-out sale of the day. Check out this automated market report. Of course, Joplin always is well tested throughout all the weight ranges, so we got nearly all of them on here. They're very impressive. You look at the lightweight steers, they had 240 head of 4-weight steer calves. They averaged 454 pounds with a weighted average price of $405.62. There were 405 head of the 5-weight steers. They averaged 553 at $388.45. 662 head of 6-weight steers averaged 644 pounds at $368.47. 594 head of 7 weights averaged 745 at $332.18. 918 head of 8-weight feeder steers in Joplin averaged 858 at $316.01, and 256 head of 9-weight feeder steers, Joplin Regional Stockyards, averaged 926 pounds at $303.60. The heifers, 220 head of 4-weight heifer calves averaged 449 at 385.68. 461 head of the 5-weight heifers averaged 551 at 353.33. 515 head of 6-weight heifers averaged 640 pounds at 335.40. 547 head of 7-weight heifers averaged 739 at 305.56. And 192 head of 8-weight feeder heifers at JRS had an average of 835 pounds and a weighted average price of $290.93. They had an extreme stick out sale, and it was very impressive. You probably saw it on social media. They had 125 head of 1,036 pound steers bring 305.50. I don't think you'll ever remember them being higher than that, guys. That'd be an all-time record high for 10-weight cattle. You look at some individual quotes from all around. How about down in South Central Missouri at Gainesville Livestock Auction? They sell 70 steer calves weigh 548 pounds at $400.50. Sioux Falls Regional Livestock up in Worthing, South Dakota. You talk about big strings. They sell 420 in one crack. They weigh 1,002 pounds and bring 303.75. How about Russell Livestock Market up in Russell, Iowa? They sell 65 steers, weigh 879 at 330.25. And in this big quote here, and it come to me from a Feeder Flash gang member from a market that I'm not familiar with. I don't care. I'm still going to give it to him. The most impressive quote that I saw on Monday, and your Macrison, no BS, top quote from the day, come from Wishick, North Dakota. Wishick Livestock Market was a home-raised set of steers off grass from the Bechtel brothers. 62 head of them, weighed 965 at 325. Follow that.
Stress in your beef herd, dairy, or swine leads to weight loss, disease, and mortality, costing you peace of mind and profit. Stressful events such as transport, weaning, calving, and handling activate survival instincts in cattle, often leading to reduced dry matter intake, suppressed immunity, and increased risk of disease and mortality. FERA offers FeraPeas, a proven solution with over 20 million doses sold. FeraPeas, a synthetic analog of the maternal appeasing substance, naturally calms animals, helping to restore normal feeding behavior, promote hydration, and support immune function, ultimately improving health and performance. Trusted by producers and validated through multiple independent university trials, FeraPeas has been shown to reduce disease incidence and mortality, ensuring greater animal welfare and improved profitability for cattle and swine operations. FeraPeas, address the stress, backed by science.
That's your Feeder Flash for Tuesday.